For half a century, Joe Biden has walked Washington's halls of power.
I'm not interested in competing. I'm interested in winning.
As a senator, a repeat presidential candidate.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship.
As vice president to Barack Obama.
One last chance to talk about our bromance.
And defied concerns about his age to beat Donald Trump 4 years ago.
President of the United States, Joe Biden.
That legacy appeared to count for little after the 81-year-old's performance in last month's presidential debate.
We're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I think that Biden debated as well as Abraham Lincoln. If you dug him up right now.
The bottom had fallen out of Joe Biden after his catastrophic debate against Donald Trump.
We have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
He froze. He muttered. He lost his train of thought.
Mr. President, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Forces within the Democratic Party mobilised against Joe Biden from the grassroots to the Congress, with nearly 40 Democratic members pulling their support.
Just like we would take the keys away from one of our grandparents if they were no longer able to safely drive, it was clear that President Biden didn't have the capacity to serve for another 4-year term, given how difficult it is to be president of the United States.
Former Biden staffer Jamie Metzel started a petition among party followers.
I felt the need to become a bit more aggressive. And so last week I drafted and circulated a petition from former Biden staffers like myself who were saying, we're grateful to you for your role, but we do not think that you can or should be the nominee for the Democratic Party.
Others urging the president to bow out reportedly included Barack Obama and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
If you had to pick one person who was really the driver of this, it was Nancy Pelosi.
In recent days, the Biden team insisted the president would be back on the campaign after a bout of COVID.
Sunday morning, all the reporting was how angry, how resentful, how hurt Biden was, and he was determined to stay in the race, and that he believed he was the most effective, that he would beat Donald Trump. But 5 hours later, he announced that he was stepping aside.
With Joe Biden endorsing Vice-President Kamala Harris to become the Democratic nominee, observers say she's the obvious choice despite her unpopularity with some voters.
She has not polled well. She had a rocky start to her vice presidency. She was given the mandate of the border to deal with immigration issues, did not execute that very well. She had staff that came in and out. She was not very effective with the media. My sense is over the past year, she has really grown and has come into her own.
We're less than 110 days away from the election. What we've seen is a total reset. If you asked Democrats a week ago where they stood, we were a party that was pretty disillusioned and pretty, bewildered about what the path forward was.
Joe Biden reportedly had Democratic donors spooked, but according to one strategist, many are now swinging behind Kamala Harris.
The major donors have come back online. They've said that they support Vice President Harris, and that over $90 million that had already been banked by the Biden-Harris campaign actually can be transferred over to Vice President Harris at the top of the ticket. Had she not been placed on that ticket, then that money would have had to been returned.
Kamala Harris's nomination is not a given, and she could face other contenders. But already, some of the potential candidates have backed the vice president, including California Governor Gavin Newsom and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
There are two roads here. It could become a very messy process, 2 or 3 candidates duking it out. And so that will play out in a very short time frame, just 4 weeks until the Democratic convention.
This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump.
This attack ad from Kamala Harris in 2019 could be a sign of what's to come if the first woman to become vice president takes on an ascendant Donald Trump.
I think that the majority of Americans who are going to make the decision about the outcome of the election want a leader who is competent and not someone who invites and creates chaos. I know what is at stake.
I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy.
The Democratic Party is hoping that it'll be enough to retain the White House, now that Joe Biden is out of the race.
An historic decision, which has given Democrats hope that actually they can beat Trump, the living martyr, after the assassination strike last weekend. They can beat Trump and save the country.